It is the Flow Friday Night Sports Show. Let's talk Hume Cricket now. Of course, Cricket Albury-Wodonga continued on in patches last weekend, dodging raindrops, unfortunately, for the cricketers across most of the region. But Stephen Bennett joins me on the line right now to help us go through it all. Stephen, how are you?
Yeah, really well. Thank you, Jason. You going well?
Yes, going well, thank you. And unfortunately, there was a lot of cricketers putting their feet up last weekend in your area.
Yeah, that's right, Jason. There was, unfortunately, the rain started Thursday and continued right through Saturday in most parts of our area. Most people had about 40 mils, so not good for cricket.
Definitely not good for cricket, but we did manage, out of the first and second grades, we did manage to get one game through to completion, and I think this game was at Brocklesby, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. A lot of credit to Jordan Shilg and all the team down at Brocklesby for getting the game going. They were pretty confident if they could get a start, they'd be right, and so it turned out that Lockhart travelled down there and played, and it looked like a pretty close game, really.
Yeah, it was in the end. So the away side won the toss and decided to have a bat. Even in those conditions, it's the old adage of if you win the toss, you think about bowling and you bat anyway. Lockhart decided to do that, and they got through 35 overs, but they could only rustle up 129.
Yeah, they're probably a little bit disappointed with that. They had three good performers with the bat, but the bowling was obviously pretty good from Rockburn, and it would have been pretty hard to score early in terms of the field. So, the two Birkinshaws put on a good partnership for the second wicket, but they just couldn't go on with it. Just couldn't. Probably needed another 20 or 30 to make it a bit more competitive.
Yep. Yes, Birkinshaw top scoring 33, as you mentioned there. And with the ball, they pretty much used everyone except the keeper, if you don't mind. This is like a Colts bowling rundown for Brock Burham. They did this the previous week as well, but 3 wickets in the end to Weaven, 3 for 18 from 6 overs. That's, is it Weaven or Weaven?
I think it's Weaven.
Yep.
Young Harrison, he did play a lot of junior cricket at Holbrook.
Okay.
But I think he had been in Albury for a while, and this was his first game for Brock Burham, so he made a good impression.
Indeed. So 9 bowlers used for them, got the job done, and then in reply, it was tough going, and it was one man who made the lion's share of the runs. Without him, they would have been in big trouble, Brock Burham. A magnificent 76 from just 60 deliveries.
Yeah, Darcy Hanson, really great effort. 5 fours, 2 sixes, and he was obviously in a hurry, and he smacked them around a bit. He got supported, but as you said, there wasn't a lot of support there from the other Brock Burham batsmen. I noticed that they put on himself and young Weaven put on almost 70. Young Weaven made 13. So I think Darcy was really the bloke who had the biggest influence on the game.
No doubt about that. 8 for 132. They got there in the end. So a good win for Brock Burham. Got to say, Birkinshaw backed up his 33 with the bat, taking 4 for 38 for Lockhart. So he's in good nick.
Yeah, Zach's a very good young cricketer. He's a good all-rounder, and he's been a very loyal and hard-working stalwart for the Lockhart Cricket Club over a number of years. And he's quite a good medium-pace bowler, and bats very well too.
Excellent. Well, that leads us to what will hopefully be round 4 of matches. What's the weather forecast like for you guys there around here? I know it's going to be raining across a fair chunk of the east coast and southern parts of the nation, but you guys going to cop the rain there around the Riverina as well?
It's hard to say, Jason. It certainly won't be like last week where we went into Saturday having had 40 mil in the previous 2 days. It's light rains forecast, so you'd be pretty hopeful that we should get underway and hopefully get some results.
Well, let's continue in that optimistic theme by having a look at who's playing who in round 4, and we will start at Rand, where those Lockhart boys, the Burke and Shaws, will have to be on their game against Rand. This will be an interesting game.
Yeah, you've got Rand, who is coming equal first, just third on percentage. They're just a machine, really. They just keep going. Lockhart are just having those early season issues you have with betting down a team. There's no doubt if they get the players that have said that they will play there this year, that they're going to be quite a force. So I think you'd think Rand at home would have the edge on them, but Lockhart will put it to them like they did with the Brock-Burham boys last week. And, they play pretty positive cricket, so I think it'd be a pretty good game.
Absolutely it will. The Rock Yarron Creek, they're at home at Yarron Creek against Culcan, and I like to try and talk things up for the most part, and, I'm sure Culcan will have a crack, but let's be honest, the Rock Yarron Creek are going to be far too good here.
Yeah, that could well be the case, Jason. Culcan, as we know, are just hoping to get some players back into their side. They're going up to play on the turf at Yarron Creek. It's our only turf ground in the competition. The ground will be looking fantastic with the rain that we've had. Turf can be a bit of a leveller at times. It can close the gap between teams. So, I don't think Culcan will be that far away, but you'd think that the local boys could go on with the job there.
Well, let's hope the Culcan crew give a good account of themselves. I'm sure they'll have a crack. Walla Walla, they will host Henty, and again, this will be an interesting game too between these two. Yeah. Well, you
wouldn't believe at this stage of the season that last year's premiers are languishing a little bit down in ninth place, but they've obviously got the batting powerhouse that is Shannon Turlick. They'll go down to Walla. Walla on top of the ladder at the moment and going very well. I think this in the next game, probably be two of the most closely contested games. Could go either way. I just can't see Henty going too long without a win. So maybe they'll go to Walla and spring the upset.
Yeah, it should be a cracking game, that one. I reckon the next one's match of the round, and I'm tipping you'll be there. It's the last match for us to talk about today. Osborne and Brock-Burham at Osborne amongst the canola, which has probably been knocked down by now. You've been doing some wind rowing, I'm sure, up your way. But I've got no doubt this will be a ripper.
Yeah, this should be a really good contest. Jason, Osborne had a almost full-strength side ready to go last week and unfortunately got rained out. So I haven't seen the team for this week, but I imagine it will be a similar one. I think they'll be very good. The Brock-Burham boys are travelling really well. They are looking forward to getting their bowling tearaway in Trento Anson back. I don't think he'll be back this week, but he's not far away. It's a tough one to pick. Again, might just go with the local boys at home, but I think, like you say, I think this will be the match of the round. It'd be a great one to watch. Well,
one thing we know in Hume Sport is when the Tigers take on the Saints, Osborne and Brock-Burham, it's usually a pretty good contest.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's everybody's engaged. There's no nobody just going along just for the sake of the game. They're all into it, and they really want to make a good account of themselves.
Excellent. Well, it's going to be a cracking round of matches. Let's hope we get away uninterrupted and all is well. Anything else to report, Stephen, before we wrap it today?
No, I'd just a couple of things. I just shout out to some of those home sides last week that just tried their best to get games going and just couldn't get them over the line. I was talking to Trevor Merkel, who's the secretary down at Walla. They actually had a wet and dry back on the pitch. They were taking 30, 40 litres off the pitch at a time just to try and get a game started. You know, it's just fantastic that volunteers work so hard to try and get games for people. So that was just, it was a bit unfortunate they couldn't get it there, but, it just shows how hard a lot of people work behind the scenes. And I don't know if I've mentioned before, but Rand have got under 13 side that they've put into the comp this year, which is the first time they've had juniors for a long time, and it's certainly the first time since the two comps came together. So I just wanted to congratulate them on doing that and making some good strides towards ensuring the future of their club.
Good on them. And that's a good way for us to wrap it up today. Fantastic stuff. Hume Cricket continuing on this week. Stephen Bennett, thanks for joining us here on the Flow Friday Night Sports Show.
Thanks, Jason. Yes, we'll keep our fingers crossed that the Brollies don't have to come out.